A very good evening. I am Mazal Ansari. The state of Kuwait is preparing to host the 45th Gulf Cooperation Council Summit on Sunday next week, December 1st, amidst geopolitical tensions in the world and specifically in the Middle East region that will inevitably cast a shadow over the Gulf arena as the alarm of instability is expanding around the region due in big part to the ongoing aggressions on Gaza and the West Bank, and as the tensions spread to Lebanon and Yemen. There are many delicate files on the table for the upcoming summit, most notably strengthening Gulf unity, unifying the GCC's positions towards all current developments, and coordinating efforts to confront the challenges being posed in the areas of security, politics, economy, and the social fields. Will this summit be different from previous summits? Let us watch the following report.
Majesties and Highnesses, the leaders of the Gulf Cooperation Council countries will gather in the capital of Kuwait to attend the 45th Gulf Summit scheduled for December the 1st, coupling with the intensive preparations made by the Kuwaiti government and leadership to hold and host this summit. In reflection of the commitment of both His Highness the Emir, Sheikh Mishal Al-Ahmed Al-Jaber Al-Sabah, may Allah bless and protect him, and His Highness the Crown Prince, Sheikh Sabah Khalid Al-Hamid Al-Sabah, may Allah protect him, to the development of the GCC. Kuwait is hosting a series of events designed to inform both citizens and expatriates in Kuwait about the significant achievements of the GCC, while fostering a sense of Gulf unity and belonging, called the Gulf Weeks, alongside the 45th GCC Summit. For its part, the Ministry of Information launched a comprehensive media campaign under the slogan, "The Future is Gulf," which aims to raise awareness about the Gulf Summit and to promote it. The upcoming summit comes at a very sensitive stage that the Middle East is currently going through, and looking at the map of conflicts within the region, it becomes clear that it forms a cordon around the Arabian Gulf, from Gaza to Lebanon, all the way to Iran in the east, and Bab el-Mandeb and the Red Sea in the west, which means a direct impact on Gulf security. These facts impose on the Gulf states to be more vigilant and take more decisive positions on many issues, in addition to the fact that the GCC countries have an effective role in calming tensions and adopting initiatives aimed at preventing these conflicts from getting out of control. The summit will focus on supporting Saudi Arabia's efforts in the two-state solution, as well as Qatar's ongoing efforts to mediate a ceasefire agreement, stop the aggression on Gaza, and provide relief to the residents of the Gaza Strip, in addition to various issues related to the Yemeni and Ukrainian files, climate, cybercrimes, and others. The Gulf states will also discuss the mechanisms for dealing with and adapting to the new U.S. administration after Donald Trump won the presidential election in the United States, and the transformations that his arrival to the White House may impose. The 45th Gulf Cooperation Council Leaders Summit is expected to be different from its predecessors, given the turbulent geopolitical conditions. However, despite this, there remains a state of harmony that has always prevailed in the Gulf, which furthers the achievements made in the framework of strengthening common ties and Gulf cohesion.
A very good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our special live coverage of the GCC Summit as the State of Kuwait prepares to proudly host the 45th edition of the GCC Supreme Council Summit, which will take place starting on Sunday, December 1st, under the inspiring slogan, "The future is GCC." I am your host, Mazen Al-Ansari, bringing you the latest news on the upcoming gathering of GCC leaders that reflects a shared vision of unity, progress, and determination to shape a prosperous future for the GCC region. Tonight, we are privileged to host Engineer Hamoud Al-Anazi, the chairman of the National Integrity Center, to delve into key topics shaping this vision: the future of the GCC, public policy reforms, human development ambitions, and the fight against corruption. We will also discuss how digital transformation, behavioral insights, and innovative governance are paving the way for a stronger, more united Gulf region. Thank you for joining us this evening as we come to you live from the Ministry of Information and as we explore how Kuwait and its Gulf neighbors are leading the way into a brighter tomorrow, because truly, as the summit slogan clearly envisions, the future is GCC. We would also like to thank our special guest this evening, Mr. Hamoud Al-Anazi, the chairman of the National Integrity Center, for answering our call and joining us live this evening on this program. Mr. Hamoud will help us unfold the inner details and workings of the 45th GCC Summit being held this year right here in the state of Kuwait. Very good evening to you, Mr. Hamoud.
Good evening. I'm so glad to be with you, Mr. Mazen.
Engineer Hamoud Al-Anazi, as the state of Kuwait will host the 45th GCC Summit on the 1st of December, how do you envision the role of the GCC in shaping the region's future amid global challenges, and what strategies can be implemented to ensure more evidence-based decision-making in the GCC countries?
Yes, GCC, we are talking about the eighth economic power in the world, with the combined GDP for the whole six countries around $2.4 trillion, and expected GDP to increase up to $6 trillion by 2050. So it's a giant, it's economic giant potentially, and it's economic powerhouse actually. And so that the GCC will be a main driver for the global economy. For the summit, it's a crucial role, because now we are the Six Nations trying to accelerate the transition processes from cooperation up to an economic unity, to have one market and to combine the economic resources for prosperity and for the development of the Six Nations. Beside of that, GCC countries are working for enhancing the solidarity and stability for the Six Nations, and protecting the interest of the people, and to put shield from regional conflict and international conflict. As you know, we are in the middle of a very hot region, and there is conflict everywhere, and it is very challenging to keep the GCC countries away from this conflict, and to focus on development, focus on prosperity, focusing on enhancing the quality of life of the people. Beside that, there are a lot of changes on the public policies, as you mentioned in your question. In the old days, public policy was based on stick and carrots. Either you put fine or you put some incentive, and trying to guess that things will change. Actually, this whole idea has changed now. Starting from 2008, President Obama used the behavior inside and behavior of the people, trying to influence how people behave, how the employee behave. This is very crucial to be integrated in the public policies. And this is a big change now. GCC countries start to adopt this approach in designing public policies.
As you mentioned about the economy, though, and as one of the major world powers economically, how difficult will it be to diversify away from oil?
It's very challenging, and it's required for so many reasons. First of all, as you mentioned, that The problem with hydrocarbon and oil is very sensitive to shock. That means any incident or any conflict anywhere in the world will affect the oil prices.
Absolutely.
And if you fix your economy based on the oil price, this is you will jeopardize the whole development process and you put it at risk.
More challenging.
More challenging. You will never know what the real oil price is next year. Actually, no one can guess. No one can project oil prices for the next 5 years because it's very difficult to predict. Beside of that, we have the climate conventions and global warming, and we have COP28, and all these regulations put more restriction
Absolutely.
in the hydrocarbon industry. And now the world are changing into electric vehicles, into green technologies and these kind of things, and these whole thing will affect, of course, the oil industry. I believe GCC countries are fully aware of this, and there are a lot of measures that have been taken so far in order to reduce the dependency of the economy on the oil, and this will be done only by a reform of various sectors. So there is a lot of reform has to be done on the tourism sectors and the industrial sector, agriculture sector, and also in the human resources. These kind of reform and initiative to fix the economy, this will affect the future of the GCC. And now you can see that if you check the revenues of the GCC countries, by time, if you take the time series model, you will see that every year we are less dependent on oil. The percentage of oil revenue in the public budget is reducing by time.
Do you think this will be a unified effort, a GCC unified effort?
I believe so, and this is the main objective of the summit, that to transfer the knowledge and know-how and experience between the leaders. We are working into united economy. That means one market, that means one business atmosphere, and the whole regulations in the six nations will be emerged by time in order to be easy of business everywhere.
All right. So anticipation as high as Kuwait prepares to host the 45th GCC summit, a pivotal gathering that will shape regional cooperation and strategic partnerships. The summit, scheduled for December 1st, will bring together Gulf leaders to address pressing issues. The second ministerial meeting, chaired by Kuwait's Foreign Minister Abdullah Ali Al Yahya and attended by the foreign ministers of GCC member states, will focus on reviewing progress, fostering collaboration, and discussing regional and international developments, reflecting Kuwait's leadership in advancing unity and stability within the GCC.
These efforts discussed at a recent seminar
to host the 45th GCC Summit, a landmark gathering set to shape the region's future. Kuwait's pivotal role in hosting this event highlights its dedication to fostering regional collaboration and unity. The upcoming summit on December 1st of 2024 will serve as a platform to address key issues and enhance strategic partnerships among member states. The 162nd ministerial meeting, chaired by Kuwait's Foreign Minister Abdullah Al Yahya, underscores the nation's leadership in advancing the GCC's agenda. This preparatory session reflects Kuwait's meticulous planning and commitment to fostering accountability, focusing on implementing decisions made at the 45th Doha Summit. Discussions will include reports from ministerial and technical committees and memoranda from the General Secretariat. By facilitating these dialogues, Kuwait emphasizes constructive engagement and cooperation within the GCC, ensuring a unified approach to shared challenges. A critical aspect of the meeting will be strengthening strategic partnerships and global alliances. Kuwait's efforts to enhance the GCC's international presence align with the broader vision of promoting economic, political, and security interests through collaboration.
Joining us now is our reporter Abdurrahman Lemhanna from the ministerial meeting headquarters, or is it the media center? I'm not sure. He'll clarify that to us. He's been all over Kuwait this evening. A very good evening to you, Abdurrahman. Can you please tell us about today's ministerial meeting and what are the leading topics that are overshadowing the agenda? Yeah, Abdurrahman, can you hear me? All right, we will try to reach Abdurrahman in a few minutes, but first let's take this short break. And now we're back with our distinguished guest this evening, Engineer Hamoud Al-Anazi. Mr. Hamoud, could you share examples of GCC nations successfully reforming public policies to meet modern challenges facing the area?
Actually, all the GCC countries develop a great progress in this regard. Kuwait Vision 2035, beside Saudi Vision 2030, they have good progress in that. And I would address that, for example, the Saudi Vision, it has 96 objectives. 44 of these objectives are based on the traditional objective like infrastructure or variation and regulation. But most of the objective is related to behavior-based public policies, that policies targeting the behavior of the public officials and behavior of the performers of the nation. For example, you can develop the biggest or the most developed university campus, but you cannot make sure that the result or the graduate student are the best, because getting the best graduate student, it needs a behavior change of the faculty and the student, and how people actually work in progress on that. This is why the behavior-based public policies come to the picture, and to design objectives that target the behavior of the people and to enhance the result and how the nation will perform. And this public policy actually was based on experiment and trials. Before applying any new policies, they do a trial, they do an experiment to test this policy in a small group. And after to see the result and based on an analysis, you will make sure which policy and which solution works. Based on that, it will be adopted on the public policies. By doing this approach, which is a new approach for designing public policy and for decision making of the public policy, you will save time and you will save effort, and also you will avoid backfire from any wrong decision. And also now the Emirates, they are doing Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid, he launched an award for all the government entities in Emirates, that giving award to the most initiative that use behavior insights in their public policies. Yes.
Engineer Mahmoud, we were able to connect again with our reporter who had some difficulties with his equipment. Joining us now is our reporter Abdurrahman Al-Mhanna. I'm not sure, where are you, at the ministerial meeting headquarters, or are you at the media center, Abdurrahman?
Good evening to you, Mazen. I'm currently at the media center from St. Regis Hotel.
Maybe just give us an update of the topics that have been discussed in the ministerial meeting.
Yes, first of all, of course, good evening to you and to your exclusive guest at the studio, and to the dear viewers of KTV2, coming to you live from St. Regis Hotel, from the midst of the media center. And of course, before I begin, one must pay respect to the efforts put by the Ministry of Interior and National Guard and the Ministry of Information for the execution of efforts that have been put here and other places to make the process go as smooth as possible. As you all know, I'll be giving you the latest on the 162nd ministerial meeting, where ministers of foreign affairs of the GCC member states such as Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Qatar, Bahrain, UAE and the Sultanate of Oman gather to discuss and prepare for the upcoming 45th Supreme Council Summit, and that will take place on Sunday, 1st of December in Kuwait. The meeting, as you know, dear viewers, it's all about setting the agenda and reviewing past progress that has been set in previous summits, such as the previous one in Doha last year. The ministers discuss topics like the political one and economics one. And also we have breaking news. We have the remarks of the latest ministerial meetings that took place earlier and have already led the groundwork. In his opening remarks, the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Kuwait, Abdullah Ali Hayya, emphasized the meeting's significance in strengthening the Gulf unity and advancing the shared goals. He also highlighted Kuwait's role as a vital bridge to regional cooperation, ensuring stability and addressing current regional challenges. And also discussions at the meeting have focused on supporting the Palestinian cause in Gaza. And of course, the GCC have also reaffirmed its commitment to a unified stance on regional stability, particularly the viewers in Lebanon, Syria and Yemen, while also calling for intensified efforts to ensure peace and security, not only in the region but for the whole world. The meeting also underscored the need to advance major projects such as the Gulf Railway, as we mentioned earlier in our lives, and enhance economic integration. The session is not just about policy but about building a future and a shared vision for all Gulf nations. The outcomes of these discussions, dear viewers, will set the stage for the Leaders Summit, ensuring a unified Gulf voice on both regional and international issues. And of course, before I move on to other topics, I need to touch upon the Gulf Railway project, since it has been touched upon, especially the economic ideas that has been stemming from the concept of economic integration, a vital one that has been touched upon. The Gulf Railway project, dear viewers, it's a railway network connecting all 6 member states, and in terms of length, it's about 2,000 kilometers, and in terms of price, it would cost them an estimated of $250 billion. And of course, in terms of role, it would boost freight transportation, reduce logistical cost, and also enhance tourism. And we have progress. We've seen progress from Saudi Arabia and the UAE, which have already done and have completed some sections, and full connectivity is set to be soon in the coming years. And of course, there is the Etihad rail in the UAE, which is taking place internally and eventually will hopefully take place across the GCC member states. And of course, not to forget to mention that the Gulf's influence not only stay within the internal but also exceed the until broader to the broader world, because we've seen and witnessed in the past month that the historic EU-GCC summit which took place, which underscores the bloc's growing partnerships with Europe in areas like energy, trade and security, and also also GCC countries have been growing ties with major powers like the United States, China, and other major powers, which would be an additional privilege to the entity of the GCC. These partnerships are pivotal for us, not only for the Gulf economic future, but also for addressing global challenges like climate change and other security challenges. These international dimensions, dear viewers, will undoubtedly influence the outcomes of this year's summit.
Thank you, Abdulrahman. But before we let you go, I'd like to ask you about the. I understand there is a pavilion that has a GCC pavilion that has been set up at the Sheikh Abdullah Salam Cultural Center. Do you have? This is open to the public, right? Anyone can go and visit. And what do they expect to see at the GCC pavilion?
Of course, that is a good question, Mazen, and actually it is connected to the GCC's vision, because the GCC pavilion has been, as you said, inaugurated at Sheikh Abdullah Salam Cultural Center in Kuwait, which highlights 4 decades of achievements in regional cooperation, including development projects and developmental projects in infrastructure, education, health, and other sectors like the environment and others. And of course, it would be open until about 13th of December 2024. It would be to all of the public. The pavilion aligns with the 45th GCC Summit, showcasing the Council progress in fostering Gulf unity and collaboration. It also serves as a key initiative to engaging the public and emphasize the significant role of the summit in advancing integration and development, and not only the integration of the economic side or the socio-political, but also the cultural side, because it is known as a cultural landmark, the GCC Pavilion. So this also aligns and showcases the GCC's initiatives towards a unified GCC summit.
All right, thank you very much, Abdulrahman. So we encourage the public to go out and visit the Sheikh Abdullah Salam Cultural Center. Stay with us. We will be right back with you to continue our live program. Welcome back. Joining us now is Dr. Khalid Al-Janfawi, a distinguished political analyst, to discuss Kuwait's pivotal role in hosting the 45th GCC Summit and the important ministerial meeting of the Ministers of Foreign Affairs set to take place, or that took place earlier today. We will delve into the strategic significance of these events, explore key regional priorities, and assess how Kuwait continues to contribute to GCC unity and diplomacy. Dr. Khalid, who is joining us now. Dr. Khalid, we have a question for you. Given the preparatory nature of the ministerial meeting ahead of the summit, what critical issues do you anticipate will dominate the meeting discussions, especially regarding regional security and economic cooperation?
Well, I think the current summit is really a unique summit, as described by many of the foreign ministers today. But I think the goal of the Ministerial Council is to, for example, is to bolster and strengthen cooperation among the GCC countries. It also aims towards building a bright future for our countries. And of course, there are a few issues that are discussed. For example, the completing the custom union by the end of this year. And also, I think the Ministerial Council will discuss very urgent issues like the conflict in the Middle East. For example, the Israeli aggression against Gaza, and also the Israeli aggression against Lebanon. So these are some of the issues I think that are discussed, in addition to, of course, taking the steps toward economic cooperation, and finally, hopefully, toward an economic unity among the GCC countries.
Dr. Khalid, Kuwait has consistently played a mediating role, political role within the GCC. How do you see the summit enhancing Kuwait's diplomatic influence, particularly in light of the ongoing regional challenges?
I think Kuwait played historically a leading role in the establishment of the GCC Council itself. In addition to this, I think Kuwait's history of diplomacy, constructive diplomacy, will also enable us to find a unity among the GCC countries towards Arab and Islamic issues. In addition to this, I think the Kuwaiti, if you like, diplomatic experience will increase and will strengthen the GCC voice toward establishing a unified front among the GCC countries in order to deal with the current challenges. Of course, we can read this within the context of a very escalating issues in the region, in particular the Israeli aggression against our brothers in Palestine and also our brothers in Lebanon. And finally, I think that Kuwait will also, because of its huge experience in the regional diplomacy, will offer solutions to some of the challenges we are facing today, especially in the GCC region.
So one more question for you before we let you go, Dr. Khalid. With the regional tensions occurring, how do you see the ministerial meeting tackling issues related to security partnerships and relations with neighboring countries?
Well, I think one of the major issues that the Ministerial Council will discuss is the issue of cyber security, because cyber security is really a very important issue that, or a challenge that the GCC countries face today. For example, so cyber security cooperation among the GCC countries. And in addition to this, I think the discussion will revolve around the strategic military coordination among the GCC countries, and of course the current issue that basically occupies the minds of Arabs and Muslims is the conflict in Palestine and Lebanon. So I think the GCC will give really a great focus on resolving the conflict, and also to express their deep concern about the blatant Israeli aggression against Palestine and Lebanon.
Thank you very much, Dr. Khalid Al-Janfawi, distinguished political analyst. We are now back with our special guest this evening, Engineer Hamoud Al-Anazi, the chairman of the National Integrity Center.
Yes.
Engineer Hamoud, we were listening to our reporter, Al-Mhanna. Abdurrahman, yes. And you wanted to add it.
Yes, actually he gave us an excellent brief about the agenda that we discussed in the ministerial meeting. And as we said in the beginning of the interview, that economic prosperity and the security is the two main, the security of the region is the main challenge, because any economic development, it requires stability. And if the region around you has a lot of conflict, this will be a concern.
Absolutely.
This will be a concern. This is why this issue been a priority now to be discussed, how to stick to our plan, and how to progress and how to boost our economic development, even though there is a lot of conflict around in the region. And this is a very challenging actually situation for the GCC leaders. And actually our leaders, they play a wise role actually. During the past 2 years, there is a lot of incident, and they keep the GCC country out of this conflict, and also to try to mediate the diplomatic dialogue and solutions. This is the image of the GCC countries that are nation for peace in the world, and we take the responsibility to be a mediator for stabilization of the world economy.
Right.
And this is a great role. This role has been appreciated by all the world. يعني, European Union, even the United States of America, even the BRICS. All of these economic group are appreciating the role of GCC countries in stabilizing the global economy. This is one thing. The other thing he mentioned about the huge development project coming, and the GCC rails connecting all the six countries.
That would be amazing.
That will be amazing, and yeah, the cost of this project will be high, of course, but every dollar you spend on transport and logistic, the return you will expect a return $5. So there is 5 times the return of any investment on the infrastructure. So this is a very important project, and this will be a game changer, I believe.
Yes.
For the future.
I agree with you. I mean, look at the Dubai experiment. The metro there has been very successful.
Yeah, and with this rail, if you reach Dubai, that means you reach Kuwait. Okay, because you are connecting too fast between these 6 countries. So it will be, we are moving fast into one market, and I believe this summit will change a lot, especially that this summit taking place in Kuwait, and you know the role of Kuwait, the history role of Kuwait, as because Kuwait has a special relation with every GCC countries. And this gives us a good role to combine and to reach solutions, and to try to narrow any conflict or any disagreement, and in order to have to move faster into the economic unity between the GCC countries.
Excellent, Engineer Hamoud. Maybe this is kind of a repetitive question, but how can behavioral insights be integrated into public policies to enhance their effectiveness?
Yeah, this is how this is related to the GCC citizens and the policy maker. So before, the policy maker was doing his decision making maybe out of the citizens' view. The behavior insight connecting the people with the decision making process. So this kind of connection, I think this will change a lot in the public policies, and I think this will change also the future of how our governments work, and to the behavior insights, people insights, and people concern, and people values and people expectation will be there in designing any public policy.
From your reading, Mr. Hamoud, what are the key areas where GCC nations should invest to drive human development? As
Dr. Khalid Al-Janfawi said, يعني, cyber security and artificial intelligence. This is the new way that changed a lot of industries.
It's a world movement going through the artificial intelligence. And it's an amazing tool, weapon.
Yes, and this is affecting every sector. يعني health sector, education sector, industrial sector, every sector being affected. Economic, every sector was affected by the artificial intelligence in a good way and a bad way as well. so يعني now the challenge how to make the best of it, and also have the control required in order that this will not deviate to any consequences that may affect the people or may affect the right of the people or harm some group. So artificial intelligence, I think this is one of the most key issues that has to be addressed for the future. And also now I believe moving to the green technology in general, this is one of the main key issues now. We are moving into clean power generation, using
combat global warming,
and يعني within time
pollution.
Within time there will be a lot of restriction for using traditional way of producing power, and this is why we need to change the behavior actually of the people, and also the how we work on the government entities for all sectors. So we have to adopt technology that, for example, using solar energy and using wind energy, beside trying to reduce the consumptions, because also consumption will affect the environment, and looking for a new way for the waste management. All these kind of challenges to make our countries more environment sustainable for the new challenges for the future. Yes.
And again, the AI tool could be used to help us find solutions.
Of course, and maybe there will be an interviewer by our intelligent. You'll never know.
Engineer Hamoud, how does human development intersect with anti-corruption efforts in the GCC?
This is one of the main achievement of GCC countries. If you check the curriculum of the schools, especially in the primary school, you will see a lot of integrity value being adopted in the curriculum. The value of the public ownership, the value of respect, the value of integrity, the value of justice. This been adopted for all the countries and the curriculum, and this was part of the cooperation between the GCC countries. We have meeting for all Nazaha authorities and the GCC. There is annual meetings, and this kind of project into trying to integrate these values in our human resources. This is one thing. The other thing that adopting conflict of interest and adopting code of conduct. Now code of conduct being part of all the ministries and all the employees, and all GCC countries now they have a code of conduct that been followed by all the employees and the whole GCC nation. This will be one of the main criteria for integrating the anti-corruption measures and also integrity values into the human resources of the countries. Yes.
Excellent. Thank you, Mr. Hamoud Al-Anazi, for sharing your insights into the upcoming GCC Summit. We will get back to you shortly after we take this phone call. We have with us Dr. Hela Lemchemi, the head of the Department of Political Science at Kuwait University, a distinguished voice in the Gulf region and regional affairs, who will share with us her assessment of the State of Kuwait's role as a founding member of the GCC, as well as her insights on the pivotal themes of the 45th GCC Summit, including the region's unified vision for the future and reforms in governance. Here's her statement.
It is important to note that Kuwait has a history of supporting the Gulf joint cooperation. As a matter of fact, the GCC was a Kuwaiti idea that was presented during the 80s because of the Iraqi-Iranian war. Kuwait felt that the GCC countries needed to coordinate in order to enhance the collective security of the region at that time. On GCC level, there are many issues that will be discussed, most importantly, the economic cooperation and joint projects. As we know that all the GCC countries already issued their own national visions that is based on their own SDGs. Therefore, this kind of joint project will help GCC countries to fulfill their commitment for their SDGs and also to diversify their economy. When it comes to the regional and also to the global, there are definitely issues of peace and stability, also the economic cooperation on both regional and global level.
We were listening to Dr. Hala Lemchemi, the head of the Department of Political Science at Kuwait University, sharing her insights into the GCC summit, the upcoming GCC summit. We are now back with our special guest this evening, Engineer Hamoud Al-Anizi, as we continue our discussion and as we now move to another topic. Engineer Hamoud, what is your perspective on the economic dimensions of the 45th GCC summit, specifically if we can focus on public policy reforms, human development, and the role of digital transformation in shaping the Gulf's future?
Yes, actually, His Highness, our Crown Prince, Sheikh Sabah Khalid, Allah Hafظah, when he was the Prime Minister, he launched the Sahel initiative that digitalize most of the government services.
The application,
yes. Sahel, and this change.
It's an amazing application.
It's amazing application.
Very useful.
Of course, and it's changed a lot. And because of the application of the service being digitalized, there is a less human interaction, so that there is less chance for mistake. And so there is less chance also, and it's higher level of integrity of the accomplish the service itself. So digitalization of the government services and the government, how government work, this also will lead to more clean government and to enhance the integrity and also reduce the risk of corruption by these tools. And now also all GCC countries has similar application, and every day ministries here in Kuwait announce a new service has been added, and the Chancellor of Ministries doing a great work in Kuwait in order to trying to digitalize everything.
It's convenient, provides convenience to the public, to the citizen.
Yes,
simplifies his life.
Actually, we are moving to something called government never sleep. You see, that the government work 24/7. Before you have to go to the government office in order to do an application to do a service. Now it's a 24/7. So the government service is there around the clock, so you can do whatever you want. And as you said,
during your free time,
it's most convenient, and also this will reduce a lot of effort and also will enhance. Now we are moving more into what you call a digital governance. That means combining governance with digitalization, and this required a lot of effort into writing procedures. We have to develop a policies and procedure for everything in details, standardization for all governmental processes. If you standardize everything, if you have policy and procedure for every details, and then you digitalize it, so the application it will be done by itself. So there is no human interaction into these processes, and even if you use artificial intelligence as well, you will also reduce the role of committees, for example, because now we have a committee that look for any special requirement. You need an expert actually to check your application. With artificial intelligence, you will feed the system with other expertise required in order to evaluate the application, and so that you will need less expert because the system itself is expert enough to evaluate your application. And this is the future now. Moving to a system that think and decide and do also the decision making.
This also keeps a record of what you've done, right? So you can
Exactly.
always check back. And
Exactly. So if we track back anything, if you want to investigate anything, everything is documented. So it's easy to track and also to develop itself. Yes.
Engineer Hamoud, another question for you. How can the GCC countries tackle the issue of corruption effectively while maintaining economic stability? Maybe we touched upon this earlier.
I think the GCC countries done an excellent work toward that. We have anti-corruption authorities in every country. We have anti-corruption legislation, anti-corruption law. And beside, we have code of conduct and we have conflict of interest law. And also we have whistleblower protection in all GCC countries. And there is now a lot of ways that everyone can report. In Saudi Arabia, for example, there is an application called Kulluna Aman, that every citizen can report. And also Emirates, they have another application. Kuwait also, we have another application. There is openness for reporting, and GCC countries now move on to a speak-up culture. That everyone has the right and has the tool to report any doubt he has, in order for the government authorities to investigate and trying to tackle and to deal with any problem. There is a lot of progress have been done so far in order to enhance and to strengthen our system for more integrity and to reduce the risk of corruption.
I agree with you 100%. I mean, before we used to hear about corruption. Now we are seeing corrupt people being caught and being found accountable.
Of course, and actually now we are moving beyond that. We don't want the corruption to happen. So we are moving into a prevention measures.
Absolutely.
And to do that, you need to review your system and looking for risk of corruption to happen. You will look for any pinholes of anything that may occur corruption. So, and to try to strengthen the system in order that the corruption itself will not happen again. So you are reducing the chance of corruption. So
Absolutely.
Prevention measure and proactive measure. Now it's moving on into for that your system will be very strong for any corruption to happen.
This is the digital age.
Yes.
One final. We're running out of time, but we have time for one final question, Engineer Hamoud. And again, our angle of tackling corruption is Nazaha. Given Nazaha's initiative to develop a comprehensive guide for measuring corruption risks in collaboration with the United Nations, how can efforts contribute to enhancing transparency and governance in Kuwait and the broader GCC region?
Yeah, this is one of the main measures that trying to equip all government entities with the tools that detect and measure corruption by itself. And this is a long process. It needs capacity building to build the ability for all government officials. This will require a lot of training and guidelines in order to embed these kind of tools into our process that will strengthen, as we said, our system from corruption, and to enhance and to raise the level of integrity and accountability in all government entities.
Excellent. Ladies and gentlemen, after this thorough and insightful discussion with our colleague, our distinguished guest this evening, Engineer Hamoud Al-Anizi, we have come to the end of our special coverage as the State of Kuwait prepares to host the 45th GCC Summit on the 1st of December, which is a Sunday next week. As a founding member of the GCC, Kuwait continues to play a pivotal role in fostering unity and collaboration among the Gulf nations, paving the way for a stronger, more prosperous future for the region. A special thank you goes out to our distinguished guest, Engineer Hamoud Al-Anizi, the chairman of the National Integrity Center, for sharing his insights into the workings of the upcoming summit. Thank you very much for watching. Please do stay tuned for more updates and continued live coverage of the 45th GCC Summit and its outcomes. Until next time, goodbye.